So for today's lesson, we are going to talk about markups. We talked about discounts, and that was where we're talking about a decrease from the original amount. If you had 10% off an item or something was discounted, it's going to cost less. A markup is a profit, or what stores do. They buy items at a certain amount and then they sell them to us at a higher price so that they make a profit. So this is an increase from what the store or the person's buying it at. They sell it at an increase. That's called a markup. There's other markups, and that would be like if you had to pay tax on something. That's kind of like the markup that the government adds on to items so that we're paying a little more, and that's their profit, if you would like to call it that. Also, a tip is a type of markup. Anytime we're paying more than what the original was or what the baseline price of something is, that is a markup. So discounts and markups. We're going to want to make sure that we have that document out again, the cheat sheet of all of the equations that can help us set up and find this information. This was what we used yesterday. So these were the ones that we used for discounts. We wanted to find the original price, the sale price, or the percent of discount. So we're going to see today for markups, the equation setups are almost identical, just a little bit of change. So here are on the bottom of that sheet, if you just scroll down, you'll see the equations for markups. We're going to go through each one to kind of talk about the differences between the discount and the markup. So when we wanted to find the original price of something that was on sale, this is what we used. We took the percent of discount and subtracted it from 100, and that told us how much it originally cost before it was put on sale. For a markup, look how similar those are. So if we want to find out how much an item cost the store to buy, or cost an entrepreneur to buy, or whatever, we would actually add that markup to 100% to find that cost to the store. So very similar. And easy to remember because a discount is less than the original, or a markup is more. So here is a good example. So right now, with everything going on, there's some shady people that are selling small hand sanitizer pumps for $30, which is at a 200% markup. So if we wanted to know how much they actually paid for them, we would use this setup right here. We would consider those shady people the store. So finding out how much the store paid for those overpriced hand sanitizer pumps would be using this. So when we wanted to find a sale price and we knew the original price and the percentage discount, this is what we used. And then when we got that amount, we had to subtract it from the original price. So very similar when we're talking about a markup and we want to find the selling price, so how much the store or the individual is selling an item for. Instead of percent of discount, we put the percent of markup over here over 100, and this time we're adding it to the cost. Remember, this is more than what it originally cost. So here is an example. Some shady people bought small hand sanitizer pumps for $10, but they are selling them at a 200% markup. For how much are they selling them? So this is the original price or the cost to the store. This is how much the markup is. So what is it going to cost to the consumer? The last of the three, if we wanted to find the percent of discount, this is what we used here. When we want to find the percent of markup, very similar. So instead of the original minus the sale price, we find the selling price, how much they're selling it for, minus their cost. So this is like their profit. And that will help us find what percent they marked up those items. So another example, some shady people bought small hand sanitizer pumps for $10 and they are selling them for $30. What is the percent of markup? So we can see how just thinking about discounts and markups in a similar way, they're not that different. Just remembering that markups are more, so we're always adding them on, and discounts are always less than original prices. So let's look at a few examples together. So this is an owner of a sports store, and she's marking up her products so that she can make money or make a profit. So if she bought this soccer ball for $20, so here's how much she bought it for, the cost to the store, the cost to that store owner, and she wants to sell it at a 15% markup. And we're trying to find out then what is the selling price for the consumer. So if you look at your cheat sheet of equations, you should see that this is the formula we're going to use for this. We want to find the selling price, and we're just going to plug in everything we know. So we know the markup is 15, so we put that over 100. We know the cost to store is 20, so X represents our selling price. We're going to use cross multiplying to solve. Remember, when we get our answer, though, this is how much she's going to make in profit. So we have to add it to the original price and get $23 total. When we were finding a discount, that what we got here would be how much we weren't paying, like how much less we were paying for an item. This is how much more we're paying for an item compared to what it costs the store. So she's going to make $3 on every soccer ball she sells, but the selling price then would be $23. All right, that same owner here is selling tennis rackets for $60, and that is at a 12% markup. So we want to know, how much did those tennis rackets actually cost her to buy, so that we can figure out how much profit she's making. So looking at that formula sheet, we want to know the cost to store. So this is how we would set that up. We're going to just plug in everything we know. So 100% plus the 12% markup would be 112% over 100. She's selling them at $60. We're just going to cross multiply, and we get $53.57. So that's the cost of the tennis rackets to her, and then she's selling them for $60. So we can see she's making about $6.50 for each tennis racket that she sells. The last one we're going to do together looks like gloves for hockey, maybe a goalie, something like that. She buys them for $35 and she sells them for $42. What is the percent of markup? So looking at your formula sheet, hopefully you see this as the equation setup we're going to use to find the percent of markup. We are going to plug in everything we know. So the selling price minus the cost. So selling price minus the cost of $35. And then we always want to set that over the cost to the store. And it costs her $35. And we just simplify this, cross multiply, and we get 0.2, which we have to make sure we change to a percent because we're asked for a percent of markup. So she has marked up those gloves 20%. All right, now we're going to do some problems on our own. Just have your paper and your calculator ready. If you need to pause the video now, that would be great. Get that stuff ready. Here's the first one. So what is the cost to the store for a sweater that's priced at $15 with a 5% markup? So we want to find the cost to store. Go ahead and pause the video and then restart after you've worked the problem out. Okay, so this is the equation setup that we should be using to find cost to store. After you plugged in everything you knew, you should get that the store paid $14.29. Remember to always round to the nearest penny, so that would be our second decimal place. And looks like they're making about 70 cents for each of those $15 sweaters. Calculator costs Target $35, but they put it on their shelves for $55. What is the percent of markup? So look at your formula sheet, do the problem, pause the video, and come back to it. So percent of markup, plug in everything you know, and the percent of markup is 57%. Always make sure we're changing those decimals to percents when we're asked for a percent. So the last question we're going to do, bill at a restaurant came to $93.50. if I add in a 20% tip to the bill, how much is my final bill? Remember, tip is like a markup. So if our original is $93.50 and we want to add 20% tip, which of those formulas would you use? Go ahead and work that problem out and come back to the video when you're done. You guessed it, we're using selling price. So I know it sounds a little different. It's a restaurant, it's not a selling price, but you have to think of tip and markup and taxes. Those are all, and profit, those are all similar things in a sense that they're more than what the original is. It's something we add on to a cost. So plugging in the things we know, we would say the $93.50 is the cost to the store. That's like what it's originally costing you to eat at that restaurant. But you want to add a 20% tip, so that's like your markup. Plugging in everything you know, you need to make sure you add that onto the original amount. So we got a tip of $18.70. Add that on, and our total bill now is $112.20. All right, that's it for today.